welcome. Another episode of our Fully Fantasy Pod. I know everybody has been asking for Oga Kwame due to the demise of Manchester United once again, but hey, I'm going to try to hold it down and be a United fan today, being the host. Before we go, if you're watching this, before I introduce my guest, like, share, subscribe. Footy Fantasy. It's on the bottom. FWTIE Fantasy. YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, Apple Podcast. If you use Apple, like, share, subscribe. That's how the algorithms find us. Help support us if you like our show. As we go, we'll go into our guest. Long time. It's been a long time he's been on here. Arsenal fan, also friend. Oye Balogun, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
And Newcastle fan. Newcastle aspiring top 6. Newcastle.
Yes.
Raji.
You're seeing me live from my closet. I'm gonna get the best soundstage here.
It's fine. Let's just dive into Newcastle, right? You guys,
Sure.
Let's dive in straight into Newcastle. You guys had I think, decent transfer window. So, how do you reach your transfer window? What's your season expectations for Newcastle?
I'm going to say that we have had a good transfer window so far. We've gotten rid of some dead wood. And we're trying to build up a team that is a little bit stronger from the back. That goes from the back. We're now trying to add creativity in the midfield so that we can have a strong striker who can finish the ball. So what we're trying to see is basically we've got one of the top defenders in Europe, Sven Botman from France, and what we're trying to do is create a very strong defense so that when we can play from the back. Oh, we also got Pope, who is now our main goalkeeper. I think the reason why we got Pope was because we wanted somebody who can get the ball and keep the ball going very quickly. So we have a situation where we have a good goalkeeper, a better defense. We've not added much to the midfield because the midfield is was very strong from the get-go. But I think that we're going to end up buying a creative midfielder and a striker before the end of the window. And the hope is that by improving the current players we have and having these players join, we could have a stronger team without actually breaking what made the team really good last season. So I think that's the thought process for now.
Okay. Who are you guys targeting?
I know that we were targeting James Maddison last week.
Okay.
And we're trying to get James Maddison from Leicester, but they're very hard to negotiate with. And from what I'm hearing now, it's that we've probably pulled out from that. There's a striker from Germany that has been linked to Chelsea, Newcastle, and Arsenal. Uh, um, but I'm not entirely sure what is going to happen on that front. His name starts with an S. I've forgotten it right now.
Specco. I think it's Seth Specco from
Yes,
Leipzig.
yes, that guy. And we've been perpetually linked with Lucas Paqueta from Lyon. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. One of the things that I've learned this transfer window is don't pay too much attention to the minutia of what happens every day. When they sign somebody, they've signed someone. Otherwise, just keep it going. I think the coach we have right now is very, very good, and whatever he has at his disposal, he's going to use to the best of his ability. Kind of like what Brighton did today. Um, they're they're a very good team. No, I'm not saying anything about Manchester United technically. I'm just saying that you wouldn't realize that with a team that Brighton has, that the coach would coach them so well they could outplay a world class team, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree.
Yeah,
he got an extension, right? Did he? Your coach Eddie Howe got an extension, right? I think.
Yes, he got an extension this week. I think the main reason why he got the extension was because they wanted to reward him for what happened last season. He achieved something that no other coach in English history has ever done. In the history of the Premier League, he lost the first 14
Oh, yeah.
games. And by December we were 19th with only 5 points, and by the end of the season we ended up 11th overall, with a form that was in the top four. I think that his methods have been proven. But the question is, are we going to buy a striker that would take us from um are we going to buy creativity and a striker that would help us when Callum Wilson is down? Because we all know that Callum Wilson is going to get injured at some point. But Callum Wilson himself is one of the class um, finishers in the Premiership. And if you had watched the game yesterday, the goal he scored against was just world class. And he can do that. But the problem is, can we have him do that all season? He has a record of scoring 1 goal every 2 games. And if he can stay fit for the rest of the season, he would easily get into the top tens and top, maybe even the 20s in his goal scoring. But he never stays fit.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out who are we going to be a backup. Who's going to be the backup player for Callum Wilson?
Oh, Chris Wood. Do you guys have Chris Wood?
Well, Chris Wood doesn't fit the style that we're playing. So Chris Wood is one of those direct strikers where he takes 1 or 2 touches after he gets the ball and he scores.
Yeah.
What the coach expects is that the striker is also involved in creativity. So you would see Callum Wilson move back into the midfield, get the ball forward, pass it forward, and move forward to try to score. This is where Chris Wood fails because he doesn't hold the ball very well. And the speed of the game is way faster than what he's used to. So he makes mistakes and gives the ball away. He does, do a lot of aerial challenges and gets the ball in aerial situations very well. But the ball to defeat and his ability to stay balanced when he hits the ball is not as good as Callum Wilson. And the golfing class shows. So one of the things that we're really worried about in Newcastle is if Callum Wilson is injured, we don't want Wood to be our main striker because the responsibility for scoring goes away from the striker and into the wingers and creative midfielders, which is what happened last season. In a situation where Chris Wood was playing, you notice that players like Bruno Guimaraes were the ones scoring. You notice people like Trippier were the ones scoring. And, we still have defenders like Fabian Schär who forward-thinking defenders who get to shoot the ball from way out of the box and score too. So they have goals everywhere on the team, but we want somebody in the strike force who is more consistent than Chris Wood.
Okay. Expectations for the season.
The weird thing is whenever you ask Eddie Howe what he thinks we're gonna finish, he always says he doesn't talk about it. But the truth about it is I don't see us looking anything below 8th. So Newcastle is aiming for 8th and above with a cup run involved. So I think that's where we are going to be at the end of the season.
Okay. That's a brave shout, I think. Let's move to I think you have some fans saying my boy representing Gunners. I see you. Let us know your name. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, who's that?
You're talking to Facebook. Add your name so we know who that is. Thoughts? Newcastle finish 8th, or you think that's?
I would say I like what he said about the achievement. It didn't even dawn on me that was actually the case. But yeah, Newcastle impressed towards the end of the season yesterday. I mean, they gave us we had that really difficult game where everybody sat down and was like, "What in the heavens is going on?" So yeah, that was terrible. I mean, terrible on our part because Salmon, that's my guy any day. So for me personally, I don't expectation wise, I think they would definitely be in the top 10. Now, I wouldn't be too excited or too optimistic as to them really knocking around the 7th area because I mean, come on, the competition is hot. So I'll give it to them. They'll stay up. They have good players. They have especially Bruno, who we wanted for a long time. I mean, that guy is a superb midfielder, and it pains me to this date that we didn't get him. But I mean, to be fair, probably 9th or 10th is a realistic expectation from me. I think it'll be just because you have, for lack of better words, money doesn't mean that you can just get anything and automatically click. So it will take some time for them to build that team. I mean, yeah, they can have a few players come in, but like I said, even we all know how it is. New additions don't always equate to new success. So
Right.
I think the coach is good though. I mean, I really like Eddie. I mean, there was a time we had discussion on our forum that, if Ateta didn't work out, we should try to get him. But it looks like he's found a home in Newcastle. I envision him staying there for another 4 or 5 years, and then he might win something, one or two things. But yeah, I mean, it's okay.
Okay.
So
Who's that?
I'm going to talk a little bit about the money stuff because it's something that people
You know,
keep
he's
talking
jumping.
about.
You know, he's jumping. There's a question here from an Arsenal fan, Big Ray. Thanks for the question. Said United Banter FC starting early. Shut up, Ray.
Yes, you guys can come and take Pepe.
Shut up, Ray. He said we discussed interested in Pepe. No banter. Will it work for you? I'll let you answer that. Right?
As a representative of the Newcastle United Football Club, I don't know. I don't know. I the honest thing I think about is, before we even answer that question, I'm going to say this. I want to just talk about the money situation,
Yeah, go ahead.
and then I'm going to answer that question. I think that one of the misnomers that we usually, hear, throughout last season was, hey, Newcastle had money and they spent the most in last season, so that was why they stayed up. But the truth about it is they stayed up because the coach coached the team very, very well.
Yeah.
People talk about how much Newcastle, including Bruno Guimaraes and all those guys, forgetting the fact that the team had already started to win games consistently. They were winning so much that it took a long time for Bruno Guimaraes to get integrated into the team. And when he finally got his starting spot, he had to play exceptionally well to keep it. One of the philosophies of Eddie Howe is that you have to earn your place in the team. So when people are playing well, they don't get removed. If you don't play well, you get substituted. And if the person who comes in after you does a better job than you, they keep playing until they start to falter. So the job Eddie Howe did last season was to improve every single player except from Saint Maximin. Um, and make sure that those people are doing a high level job, so that when new players are integrated they just fit in like a glove, and they have one philosophy going all the way down to the youth level. So I think it's a little bit more than money, because Newcastle is not really spending, and every single time you say, hey, can you please spend money, please, they talk about the fair play, the FIFA fair play issue, where they can't spend more than they make beyond a certain level. um I don't think money is like the main driver. With regards to the Pepe issue, I don't think that Newcastle is gonna go for Pepe right now. Because one of the things they're looking for is somebody who is consistently dynamic, and that's not something that Pepe is. And Newcastle is not going to be a club where you offload players you don't want. So thank you so much for the question. We're not done yet.
Well, you never know. Look, can I say something about
Yeah.
Pepe? The issue with Pepe is, I mean, I personally never liked him, and people always went after me. I just felt he was more flash than anything, and there are a lot of faults to his style of play. I mean, he dribbles too much. It's like his mind is somewhere else, and he's not focused. Anyway, there's so many issues, but talent-wise, he has it. He's a very good player. And to just sum this up, the reason why Pepe hasn't really performed in Arsenal is because Ateta doesn't see him as someone that can be taught how to play in his system. So that's why he went and got William. That didn't work out. You could see he kept looking for somebody else to replace Pepe. But I feel like in a different setting and with a different coach, it just even a fresh start, we might be able to reignite Pepe. And hey, 25 million is not a big amount of change, to spend on a player like that. If he comes in, gives you guys 8 to 10 goals, I mean, it's a fair game. So
I'm very worried that you're trying to whip and sell your player on this football.
please come and take it off our hands, man. I'm tired of
I'll talk about Pepe then go touch it. But I think you've covered
Yeah.
a lot about Newcastle. Pepe is a very specific, in my opinion anyway, a specific player that works in transition, right? He's one of those players that the scouting of Pepe, when you think about it, is like in Lille, what he was that season, where he had that breakout season. They were strictly a transition team. He will break in transition when there's a lot of space. So why Pepe makes him very unique is, first of all, he needs to play in transition. And second, not just in transition where there's a lot of space ahead of him to break into. That's why he functioned well as a second striker thing. So you have to almost like, he's one of those players that you have to carve your team.
Exactly.
And he's not good enough to do that. He's not that good enough, especially in the Premier League, more complex systems. There's less space to run into. Like, there's just too many things you need to change for Pepe. And that's why I definitely work for us now. Possession based. So I don't think Newcastle is a strictly transition based team. I know you play in transition sometimes against better sides, but Newcastle try to keep the ball now. I think that's what Eddie Howe is trying to do. So I think that's not going to work, in my opinion.
I mean, when you look at yesterday's game where we played Nottingham Forest, we had 62% of the ball possession. Right. And we had almost 20 shots at goal. Newcastle is no longer one team that sits back like we were under Eddie Bruce or even Rafa Benitez. We're now, what he's trying to create is a team that is on the offense, who is trying to create chances without having to let the other team dictate the game. So that's where Newcastle is at. So that's the reason why we were trying to get Diaby from Bayern Leverkusen, because Diaby is the kind of player that fits the profile that Newcastle wants. And if you had watched yesterday's game, you would have seen how Diaby would have made a difference. Two chances that what's the name of our right winger? I've forgotten his name. Sorry. Had
who's the right winger?
What's his name from Atalanta? Two chances he had last. I'll figure it out. I'll remember soon. Two chances he had where he let the ball go because he can't shoot on his right leg, so he had to let the ball roll to his left leg so that he could actually control the game.
Miguel
Almiron. Thank you so much. In a situation like that, you're seeing like a world-class player like Diaby seeing an opportunity like that and just shooting the ball instead of making sure it goes to his strong foot. So that's one of the things we're looking at.
Someone said, "Give us." Well, let's start with Ray. Big Ray says, 50 million last price. We'll give you Pepe.
Man, if you can give it to us for free and even pay us to have him, then maybe we'll take it.
That's how give us 10 million last price. Yeah, I think Newcastle will probably finish around what you said, Raji. But I think those two signings need to happen too. Like, you guys need to replace have somebody to come in when the inevitable hamstring of Callum Wilson pops. I don't like passages, but it seems like every season this happens to him. Sometimes it even goes worse. Sometimes it's knee injury, ankle injury. He always gets injured. Or, you need more creativity. I think Joelinton has been, wow.
Yeah, he's actually come up pretty good.
Yeah, playing midfield all of a sudden. I've been doing all these things, pressing. It's amazing what he has done with Joelinton.
I think that if there's been anything that shows how much work that Eddie Howe has done is how he converted Joelinton from a striker to an enforcer. And that the Newcastle team will never be balanced if they don't have Joelinton in their team. Because Joelinton breaks up play in every single situation, and he's annoying to be around. He nibbles at your leg all through the time. He's intercepting balls, and he's creating chances because he had a couple of chances yesterday. So Joelinton is just Joelinton is going to be an incredible player to have fit all season. And we haven't had a problem with injuries for him. But I will also say that they've been taking some interesting steps to try to make sure that Callum Wilson stays fit throughout the season. Like last season, one of the problems that Callum Wilson had was that he was living very far away from Newcastle. So he had
Okay.
to travel long distances to come to this to train, long distances to come to the game. So one of the things that they've done to change that is to reduce the distance. So he's moved to Newcastle. They're trying to reduce the stress involved with the team and try to bring everybody closer to the game so that we can just see whether those are the kind of things that those microaggressions are one of the reasons why he was unfit for a period of the game. So let's just watch how the season plays out.
Okay. Talking about Newcastle, just give us quickly the game yesterday. How did that play out? 2-0 over Forest.
The game was surprisingly the Newcastle was surprisingly dominant in that game. I mean, not surprisingly, but if you look at how Newcastle played under our previous coaches, in a scenario like that, we usually lose those kinds of games because we sit back and let the players come to you. We get the ball, pass to say Maximin, do a quick counter and try to score. One of the things that Eddie Howe has instilled in the club, especially, and you start to notice it during the preseason, was number one, the players have to be extremely fit at the very beginning. And you could see how we're playing against Champions League teams during preseason. And those kinds of things changed the game yesterday. We saw incredible creativity from the midfield and from the right wing. We saw incredible finishes and we saw the defense pushing forward so much that you had chances created by a goal created by individually by Shah. So, we're trying to control the game a little bit more, and it was a dominant game. I think the only thing I worried about yesterday was, despite all the chances we created in the first half, it took us almost 60 minutes to get our first goal in. And I think that we need to look into how we are finishing. But those are the kind of things that can improve through the season. So,
Okay. Okay. Good review. Oye Balogun, Arsenal. The Arsenal. Let's talk about your favorite club, Arsenal.
My only club. Well, I actually have another club.
Yeah, you do. I know. That's what I said. 2-0 over Palace. So Arsenal were top four guaranteed. Let's walk us through the game.
I'm not gonna push myself into a trap, but it's okay. No, to be honest, yesterday was I said yesterday. Friday was not surprising. I mean, we've been watching preseason, and there's been some positive development in the way we play. Jesus has been been a blessing so far. So we just hope that he keeps, and obviously doesn't get injured. But overall, the game was nothing surprising. I mean, Crystal Palace is always a tough customer away. So the only thing I was really worried about was the odd equalizer and then the last minute panic where you're like, okay, is Arsenal going to Arsenal again? But overall, I mean, the signings.
Someone knows me too well.
The signings so far, I call him Zinolensky anyway, but Zinchenko looks like he's been playing with us for a while, and I love the fact that him and Shaka have this thing going on where he inverts into midfield. Shaka drops deep, and he's able to, because he's also adept at midfield play. So so that will work out really well, and also kind of relieve what's his name, Tierney, because that one's always going to get injured. So we need that. Now, in terms of overall personnel, there's still about 2 or 3 places that I still feel, maybe not 3. 3 is a bit much because we bought a lot of players, but overall, right back is still iffy. I mean, we don't have a consistent, solid right back that we can say that the whole season we can rely on. I mean, Tomiyasu he's good, but he's going to get injured. I mean, he's still coming back from injury. So and then you look at the backups. You have Cedric, who, some people say he's good, some people say he's not. I mean, nothing to write about. He's there. We use him when we can. Some games you're afraid. Some games you're like, okay, he played well. So he's not consistent. Bellerin is as good as gone, so we can't even rely on him. White is playing there right now, and he's done okay. But the question is, he's not really a right back, and at some point, the fans are going to turn on him if he starts messing up, if he makes 1 or 2 mistakes and cost us stuff. So that's that's something that we need to put into the spotlight. But overall, the defense is good. I mean, Saliba was fantastic. I mean, we
He's
are
really
we
good.
are happy that the whole drama thing that was going on is over, and we can put that behind us. And he's here to stay. In fact, I love the fact that he's sort of pushed White to the right back position. So the competition is there. I mean, everybody has to now work hard. You can see the way it was. He no nonsense style of play. I haven't seen that since Sol Campbell days. I'm to be honest. I'm not trying to hype the boy up, but the facts are there.
He's
So
really good. He's good.
the defense is solid. I mean, I feel like Ateta has done a good job. I mean, he built the defense. The defense is solid. Midfield, eh, Shaka is there. Shaka is a good player, but of course, again, Shaka will Shaka.
Okay, Teta in vibes coming from you. Oh yeah.
No. I'm not. Don't bait me.
Teta in. I
Let's
remember
focus
you.
on it.
And Teta. Just
No,
say.
I'm gonna. And I had this discussion with my guys. I'll give credit where it's due. Ateta has probably learned a lot from his previous mistakes. I mean, he still did one or two things that we've seen in the past that were like, but overall, you could see that he's trying to build something. So I'll give him that. Whether I'm Ateta him or Ateta out, we don't know yet. I'll
No, we
wait
need
till
that. I need that divide. You have to choose one side when you come on this point. If you are in or out at this point.
at this point, I'll maybe later.
Okay.
But the final piece now is striking department that and even Sammy, me and him are probably the only two that are on the same page in regards to that. Maybe a few other guys are, but we need another striker. I'm not convinced by Nketiah. I'm sorry. I would love to be wrong. If he comes in this season, scores 10, 15 goals or whatever, great job. But overall, just from the onset, I'm not convinced that he's as a backup he's okay. But the issue now is if Jesus gets injured, because even in preseason we saw some games where they were clattering this guy and people were like shouting like take him out, take him out, take him out. So is one bad game or a couple of bad games from getting whacked and he's out, and then we're back to square one, and then we have to realize
during the World Cup, right? During the World Cup.
exactly. Well, yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that. Yeah. So yeah, everything's looking good. Predictions, I mean, I would say fourth place, because I feel we have our style is a bit different from a style is a bit more progressive than Conte's. Conte is, I don't know, it's boring to watch that guy play, but it's effective for him. So I think that gives us a little bit of an edge over Spurs because that's really our challenge in this whole, we're not challenging with Man City, we're not challenging Liverpool. Chelsea will. I mean, once they figure out this thing out with the whole owner buying, the guy's just buying everybody as far as I'm concerned. But once they figure themselves out, and I think they're going to get a striker. We don't know yet. I've heard Aubameyang, and some other players, but I think they will settle at third. So that leaves. Sorry to say this, but Man U, I don't know what's going on with you guys. So
we'll get to Manchester right there. We'll get there.
So, anyways, overall, my review good. I mean, nothing surprising. We all expected a win. We were just worried that a few cracks might show in, but it looks like we've. Oh yes, my pick for second striker was Ivan Toney, who today showed us why we should have instead of we wasted a good portion of the transfer window chasing Raphinha, knowing fully well that it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
When we could have focused on something else, but it's okay. So far, we're okay. The transfers have been good. The team looks okay. Partey if he stays healthy, and he doesn't get injured, we should be fine in midfield. And it also looks like we're looking for another midfielder. So we should get somebody in right before the window closes. So overall, we're okay.
Okay. Question I have is Jesus. How many goals do you think he'll score?
Realistically, I could say I can't give you. I can say a range between 15 to 20 if he stays fit, because you can tell. I mean, I've not seen a player and a striker drive in the middle that effective in a while for playing for Arsenal. I mean, like I said, tried, but he either fell down or something happened. He got to the box and, like I said, tried, but and we all know Aubameyang is usually he comes from the wing. So, but we always wanted that directness, and he's very good with passing. He has the DNA of Man City passing, so that also helps. And even yesterday, Friday, we saw it. One of the comments was like, "These guys are passing like Wenger era." Last season, in the beginning of last season, there were some games that were like, "What is going on?" They were just kicking balls, losing balls. But yes, Friday, I keep saying yesterday. Sorry, Friday, you could see the passing game is. You can say that the passing game is back. So that's something that we're happy about. So I think 15 to 20 is realistic.
Okay, I agree. I agree with that for sure. Maybe the 15. I don't know about 20, but 15 in my opinion. Uh,
I'm going to say this about the Arteta in, Arteta out. I mean, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but my whole family supports Arsenal.
ah,
So I'm forced to watch their debacle every single season. But I will say this: I think that one of the things that you haven't given Arteta props for is the fact that he's been able to clear out this Arsenal team significantly. Prior to his starting, you guys were a bloated club. Lots of players that didn't fit systems. We had multiple managers who had different ideas. And you brought in players to fit each of those managers' ideas. And what you have right now is one focus and one team based on what Arteta wants. They've removed the players that don't fit his style, like Aubameyang, and they've brought in players that match what his expectations are, which includes the dynamism between the midfield and the defense, which is one of the things you talked about with Xhaka and Zinchenko switching positions. What he wants is ball from the back, good control in the midfield, and trying to break teams very quickly by moving the ball from the back to the front very fast. And the reason why they have Jesus in the team is because they feel like once Jesus gets the ball, he can create something very quick. He's very speedy with the ball, which he showed glimpses of at the very beginning of the game on Friday. I think that Arteta has a good idea of what he wants to do with this Arsenal team, and they're going to be one team to watch. But I do worry about the midfield. I think that the midfield can get overrun, especially if you play a very good team, like Manchester City or Newcastle. I think that your midfield could actually get bullied off the ball relatively quickly or relatively easily. And you'll be left exposed, like the same thing that happened when you came to St. James Park last season. Then you'll be forced to play counter-attacking football, and I'm not entirely sure that the new Arsenal fans would like what they see when they start to play counter-attacking football. And that's when the Arteta outs suggestions will start to come in again. So I think that you guys should be happy for what you have right now, but should be worried that the way you play right now, there's going to be situations where um, people are going to call for Arteta going out because they can't control the midfield against better teams.
yeah. So to jump on that, that's one thing I saw in the game. Yes, on Friday, first half better. Game was good. Arsenal had mostly control, but really, Palace kind of took over control.
Yeah,
And it was
that's
so
true.
good. And if they had better finishing up front, that's better than Mateta and Edward. I think they probably would have that game could have probably ended 1-1 before Arsenal broke and scored. But Arsenal look better. Their passing is crisp for sure. Ateta is somebody like just like you say, right? I still am on the fence of what he's trying to do. I don't have to be in or not. I'm not an Arsenal fan, so I don't really care. But like, what he's trying to do fully regarding like the heavy possession football he's trying to do, like long term, when everything gets very turgid, because I see that creativity, everything's trying to come through Saka and Odegaard. Over the length of the season, I see that what I always say about Arsenal, they get to this patch where everything becomes like very, very predictable. And he tries to do this like 1-0 to the Arsenal type thing to win games. I don't think that is, like you said, the midfield is good enough to do that. Especially, we know Partey is not playing 35 games.
Yeah.
Yo, everybody knows this. That Partey is going to miss like 10 games due to hamstring. And once Partey goes out, that midfield, the drop is so stark from like Partey to Lokomba or whoever comes in is so that gap is so wide, and that's what I worry for us now. I think that the gap from Partey to is so. That gap is so wide. Probably Arsenal fans, I disagree with Raji. What Raji said about Newcastle bringing us. That only happened because the absence of Partey. None of Newcastle's midfield are better or stronger than Partey or even Xhaka. I think we just need a backup to Partey and pray he stays fit. I want to pray.
I'm just gonna say Bruno Guimaraes.
Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah, Bruno Guimaraes is really
good.
But
hold on though.
I don't think it's better than Partey though. But I think it's better than the Arsenal's other midfielders.
Who's better than Partey?
I said I don't think Bruno is better than Partey.
Oh no.
I think it's better than the other two.
Oh yeah. To be fair, can I jump in? The issue with, and I missed that part, I was going to mention that the issue with the midfield is also the fact that, I mean, obviously you stated Partey being out. You could see Monday why he needs to stay fit, because he did a very good job of, and Xhaka is not a leader in that sense of he doesn't control the game. Yeah, he shows up one or two on two occasions, and he has a few, but then when things start going bad, of course he crumbles with the rest. So I agree, we do need. I mean, I was actually hoping that we get Lucas, but it was obvious that we weren't looking at him. Everything, the rumors were flying around, but it was clear. It's clear that when Arteta went and bought the unknown midfielder, who, fair enough, his stats looks pretty good, and I saw a few clips. I mean, they don't tell you the full story, but at least the guy is productive. But again, he's not the type of midfielder we need in that deep position. So I agree, you guys have made some points, and that's my worry too. And I hope, because they keep saying we're getting a midfielder. We've heard of Tielemans, who's a good player, but I prefer more of a Ndidi than a Tielemans in that position, if that makes sense. Yeah. Of course, we're not going to get Ndidi, but that's the type of player I feel we should go for. But then the question is, who is out there that fits the bill that we can actually achieve? I don't know. So we'll see at the end of the day what happens.
I wonder why nobody is buying Lucas Paqueta, even at
I don't know
cutthroat price. I mean, this is the same. This
is
good hesitation that you guys had with Bruno Guimaraes. You guys could have got him long time ago, and when he finally made it to the Premier League, he was exceptional. I don't know why nobody is interested in him, because even Newcastle, they're dilly-dallying. They're going for Maddison when you can get Lucas Paqueta for almost half the price of Maddison. I don't know why no one is going for it. There must be something that we don't know about that makes all these clubs hesitant to pick him up.
But I think it's all about, like, generally recruitment, teams of these big clubs are always afraid of the translation of the game from like to the Premier League, especially midfielders. They're always very afraid. Typically that's why I think there's always this hesitation. They want somebody to be Premier League proven, even though sometimes that thing can be overrated, I think. But yes, I agree with that. Because that's the same thing when we found Bruno at the time. A lot of people were hesitant. Like Spurs literally could have signed Bruno, and they didn't want to pay extra, whatever million, 3 million, 5 million at the time. And then we came in and got Bruno, and of course, it's kind of dipped a little bit. But his first 18 months, I mean, he was superb for United. Someone says Xhaka only plays better with Partey alongside him. In fact, anybody will be good in midfield alongside Partey. I guess this is probably Samuel. I don't know if anybody will be good alongside Partey. Let's start.
You can make crap.
That is Maradona. I think the only person that you can say that is that's Maradona. Stop that. Anybody will be good. But Partey is really good. I think Paqueta is more of an attack than anything. Also, I think the fact that it's extremely hard to do with Lyon's presidents make it instinct.
Yeah, that guy makes it difficult. Yeah,
presidents hard to. That's a good point, Simon.
Yes. You know what? I think actually, can I say? I think that's actually the issue. That's probably more of a bigger issue than actual. Because the guy is good. I mean, I saw him play for, and I don't 100% agree with him just being an attacking midfielder. He's a very dynamic. He plays more of a defensive midfielder when he plays for Brazil. At least in a few games he's played at. For Brazil. So, but I think the issue is the president. I mean, we've had history with that guy, and the guy is just, I mean, I don't know whether he gets a hard on from being difficult, but the guy is just difficult. I mean, I don't know if Arsenal just said, we don't want to deal with this. Because Arsenal has their own network too of teams that they work with very well, where they have relationships. I mean, you have the Brazil angle, and then there are some other teams in France that they have good relationships with, but Lyon is one that we just don't. I mean, look at the issue with Hawa or Hussein Hawa. we almost paid 60 million for this guy, what, 2 seasons ago? Now I don't know if he's even been sold, but I think they're asking for 10 million for the guy now. Look at the drop, 60 to 10. So, and the reason why we couldn't get it is because of the issue with the president, the agents. There's some issues with the agent fees. I mean, it was just a mess. I'm glad we didn't get him because that was just too much. I mean, the numbers clearly have shown that we missed out. We didn't miss out on anything, So, anyways.
Okay. Talking about midfielders, this is a perfect segue to Manchester United, my dear Manchester United. So I'm going to just dive right into the midfielders and give the last time Manchester United bought anyone who could play in the deep lying position, central defensive midfield, holding midfield, whatever you want to call it, whatever name people like to call it, was Fred. And that was 2018, 2019. And that's how many seasons ago? That's 5 seasons.
Yeah.
We had 3 managers. That was under Mourinho, there was Solskjaer, there was Ralf Rangnick interim. Now with Ten Hag. 4th manager, we have not bought one deep lying midfielder, central defensive midfielder, holding midfielder. We've not bought not one, even because I don't count Fred as that. Fred is an 8, clearly, when you see him play.
Yeah.
And we get into this season. I remember, like, in some of our group chat, I was going like crazy about it. I was good. And people were like, oh no, we can play 2 central midfielder. It looks like Ten Hag likes double pivots, likes this, like that. The people were getting carried away about preseason friendlies. I was telling people, like, guys, are you guys serious though? Are we talking about preseason friendlies? Are we? And people were like, oh, like, and I kept quiet all through when I kept reminding people, like, you guys forget about what's happening preseason. The first time I'm going to judge this is when I watched that first game, and I'm pretty sure Ten Hag his middle name is not Jesus Christ, for lack of swearing. He's not turning water to wine. I kept telling people this. People were like, oh no, what are you talking about? I said, okay, let's wait for that first game. First game comes. Nothing has changed. The midfield is as open as I-10 on Sunday. Just wide open. I was just like, can you guys see what I'm saying? Like, in transition, like, you are playing McTominay. McTominay is so trash. I'm like, guys, like, we are still in this McFred sandwich 3 years in. I do not want any part of it. Like, and you could see second half when it got better against Brighton was when Eriksen dropped deep. I was not like creating, and it kind of looked a little bit more coherent. I'm like, oh, like, what is going on with this club? Like, why is there no defensive midfielder? And people were like, oh, but that's on Ten Hag. I kept telling people, like, Ten Hag doesn't know this team as much as we do. I kept telling people this. They're like, oh, what do I mean? Am I saying I'm better than the coach? I say, no. Ten Hag understands the fact that he cannot judge his players based on preseason. He cannot. He knows this. You think he's stupid? When Pep came, Pep had to have 1 season before he said, okay, yes, these fullbacks, all of you got to go. Clichy, whatever that guy, like Sanya.
Gala.
Because he knows that the only way to judge player is when the real thing starts. Same happened with Klopp. He came 8th because he had to judge, oh, okay, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go. And start making changes. I said the only way Ten Hag would have known is if we had real football people upstairs saying, hey, I know you are new, but in order for you to have a good base foundation, you got to buy a GM because this is not going to work. Especially the fact that you're trying to play possession football. It's not going to work with these guys. I was screaming this beginning of season, and I had United fans telling me, talking crazy. I mean, I'm good. I almost want to swear. I was like, talking crazy in my WhatsApp chat, like, oh, what are you talking about? He can play. Play what? Like, we've seen these guys for almost 100 games. They are terrible. It's not going to work. And that was under Solskjaer that had no plan. Just guys go and figure it out type thing. Now this is a manager who wants to play possession football, build from the back. You think all of a sudden these guys are going to figure it out? Like, it's for me, it's so crazy that people thought that McFred is going to work after what we had seen last season. And even the season, even when we came second, like, that's because people had not figured it out. When people figured out that midfield, now it's very easy. Just have somebody playing between the lines. Just have one midfielder just be able to stay in between the line of Fred, and it's a wrap. That's literally what everybody does in transition, because those guys don't know how to, like, position themselves. So, I mean, it's kind of obvious what happened to United. This was always going to happen, and I think it's going to get worse. And I guess the advantage now, they said there's a meeting today, is maybe finally somebody like forget, yes, Frankie de Jong, cool. Even if you get Frankie de Jong, in my opinion, right, We lost Pogba, we lost Matic, and we didn't replace
Great
any
team.
of them.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like, what's all of this? Because Van der Beek is a 10, in my opinion, right? So that doesn't count. Ericsson, ideally, is a 10. Yes, he played 8 for Brentford, but guess what? That's Brentford. Like, the team was kind of built around Ericsson. Everybody was working out for Ericsson.
Yeah.
Ericsson's job is just to spray passes. That's not going to happen in United. And even though he played well today, a better team than Brighton, even though Brighton's a good team, I like Graham Potter, would have put us to the sword, because there was the midfield there was nobody winning or holding position. There was nobody. It was just a free. In fact, I tell you today, if we did not have that kid who I like a lot, Lisandro Martinez, we lose that game by 3 or 4 today, because that guy is very good in one-on-one situations and he's quick. He's a quick center back. That's what helped us today. It was Lisandro Martinez. If we had like Lindelof, we'll be toast today. I'm like 3 or 4 today. I'm being serious. Or Varane would have come like 3 or 4. So it's funny how we do this thing. Like, I see all that teams. I talk about Arsenal, I see Partey, see Odegaard, even Raji. I'm seeing Bruno Guimaraes as well. United, there's this, like, it's almost like a generational curse that we don't want to buy like
Indeed.
midfielders. Why? Like, what's going on? Like, it's so, for me, it's so mind-boggling that we saw what happened last season and we came into this season and we're like, oh, let's just keep chasing Frankie de Jong and we'll just figure we'll go with McFred. Really? It's, for me, it's just mind-boggling. When I watch it, I was just like, wow, they're setting this man up for failure. And I hope he sees it quickly and reacts quickly and be like, okay, you know what? Pull the plug on Frankie de Jong. They can do whatever and just go and get like Sangari. Like, there are people in the market we can get now between now and September 1st. So for me, that's when I look at United, I'm like, we don't have any midfield. We don't have a midfield. We just have a lot of attacking players, some good defenders, but the midfield is like, our team is like a donut. It's just a hole. There is nobody there. And you're not going to be able to play coherent football, whether it's in transition, whether it's possession, if you don't have a midfield. I mean, what are we doing? like guys, what are we doing here? It's very funny when I see how people want to kind of overanalyze it. For me, United's problems are very simple. We need midfield. We need a better right back. Dallo might be okay. We need a better right back. Well, of course, we need a striker. Like Ivan Toney, like you guys are talking. Go get Ivan Toney. Get like 2 DMs if possible. That's what I'll do. Or at least 2 midfielders. One that's like a Frankie de Jong type, right? That can hold, that can progress the ball. Then one destroyer. That's what we need. For you to get a base foundation of what to do, you need, like, complementing type of players. Someone that can destroy and also somebody that can progress the ball for some certain type of games. That gives the manager a good foundation to try and build on. Because without that, we're just wasting our time. I'll be honest with you. We are just wasting our time. We are going to finish the same position we finished last season. That's guaranteed. If we don't make those signings, United is not finishing higher than 6th. That's my opinion anyway. Any thoughts?
Before I'm just gonna say what I think about this. I think number one, the Brighton game is a very, very deceptive game. And it's one of the more difficult teams to play against at the very start of the season. I don't think that you're talking about a team that is already very balanced in the middle, very creative going forward, and who know how to defend very well. Graham Potter has drilled all of those things in them versus a team that is just learning a new system, trying to who are not extreme as confident as Brighton is in their system. I think that it's going to take a few months or a few weeks for these ideas that the coach has to embed itself within the team. And I think that they're still playing with some of the fears that they had last season. Some of the defenders don't trust each other, so they're going out of position to double. Meanwhile, the other team is able to cross the ball to the other side and create space, trying to manipulate the open space that they currently have. So I think that Manchester United is also not in a position to dictate what players come to them. So I'm pretty sure that I know Oye just shook his head, but the thing about it is Manchester United doesn't have the same clout that they had 10 years ago,
For sure.
and I think that the idea that some players are even wondering why they want to come to Manchester United and choosing other teams, which has happened a few times uh, this transfer window shows that even the fact that Ronaldo wants to leave Manchester United for any team in the whole world, uh, that has Champions League in their title means that the pool that Manchester United has is not as strong as they used to, where just wearing the shirt is going to be like enough of a reason to be there. That people will even take pay cuts to play for Manchester United. We don't have those scenarios any longer. And the years of buying midfielders has finally caught up, because you have a bloated midfield bench where you only have one or two players that fit your current pattern. And you can't offload those players because those players are making so much money. No other team wants to take the responsibility for it. So you guys are going to be in this position for a while. The question is, all the midfielders you have are talented. The real question is, can Ten Hag take advantage? Yes, they are talented. There's a reason why they bought them in the team.
We have good, talented attacking midfielders. That's Bruno and Bruno, Ericsson, maybe Van der Beek. Van der Beek is someone.
Van der Beek was good, and I'm sorry to let me hate to cut you off, but Van der Beek was actually I was actually hopeful for Van der Beek, but I don't know, because I saw him play at, and I know it's a different league, but I saw the way he played at Ajax, and he's an intelligent player, but obviously that didn't pan out. But anyways.
No, you're right. I think that you can get more from some of these players than what you currently have, including Van de Beek. I think that in fact, you can even play 4-2-3-1. Get have someone like Bruno Fernandes and what's his name, Ericsson, in the attacking positions. You add one more player there, and you have one striker. And all of a sudden, you leave all the defensive work to two players, Fred and maybe Van de Beek, or McTominay, and all of a sudden you could have a dynamic forward, with a better defense. But I'm not. They played 4-2-3-1 today, so they are right on the cusp of it. They just need to figure out how they distribute this play. I'm not entirely sure Manchester United is going to be able to get more than one or two players before the end of this.
But we need to change those DMs. Let me take a question quickly. Says, wait, you guys get Matic after Fred? Matic was before Fred.
Matic was before, yeah.
Matic came 16-17 season. I think United got Matic. So Fred, Matic was your last DM. No, Matic
came before Fred. Matic came before.
Sure. I pity 10-10, to be honest. Man came to a sinking.
This is sad.
10-10.
Can I
lost two of their best players in Bissouma and Cinderella. They did lose their two best players, to be fair.
Yeah.
The midfield lacking players with low technical ability in tight spaces, plus a goalkeeper who couldn't distribute COVID means team will be under pressure. This sounds like tricky. Oh my goodness, we're going to distribute COVID. Okay, yeah, you have some thoughts.
Okay, so I didn't watch the Brighton game. I only jumped in when people shouted goal, and everybody, Arsenal players, we wish all the bad and evil on you guys. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
Feelings mutual.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you saw the message I sent you, so I was being nice too. But I think you're right, because with the whole midfield thing, and I watched a bunch of Man U games last season, and like you said, even when Pogba was there, Pogba is a talented player. I never understood. I mean, I understand why it didn't work, but it was still mind-boggling why Pogba in Man U was just one great game and then like five just. Is this Pogba? But it's Man U even more so than just a defensive midfielder. Man U needs
Man United.
Man
United.
Okay, Man United. Sorry, yeah. Man United needs a dynamic midfielder, and I would like to use. And I was when you guys were talking, I was thinking of a player that comes to mind, but someone that is equally adept. Oh, Kante, perfect. Someone that is equally adept at defensive responsibilities and also with progressing ball. Because even if you get just a DM, I mean, yeah, unless you have a DM paired with a Freddie, like you said, Freddie is great with
Frankie de Jong,
playing from deep. But of course, the situation of Freddie is just Barca is just trying to offload an expensive player so that they can register all these players, and Man U is going to throw $1 million wages per week and something crazy for him. So if it doesn't work out, then you have an investment that is just a big
Pogba 2.0.
Exactly. Nobody's going to want to get him, and it's going to be Groundhog Day all over again. But anyways, so I think, to be honest with you, Man U should actually be looking at Kante. Just go for Kante. He's right there. You can get someone younger, like that Sangari guy. I've seen that guy play. That guy is very good.
I like him. And PSG,
Very good.
love him.
And I hope you guys get neither of them anyways. But if you guys can go for Kante, at least in the interim, while everybody's still figuring out the game, because it's obvious that nobody knows what's going on. Even the players. What's that?
Chelsea never sell Kante to us.
I mean, okay, yeah. I was being unrealistic in that, but I'm just telling you the type of player.
Yes, I agree with you.
If you can get Kante, even I mean, he's old and all that. He's getting older and whatnot. He's not as dynamic as he used to be, but at least in the interim, and he can play a few games just to get, because once those players see how this style of play works, because 10 Ben Tega, what's his name? Ten Hag has that solidity in the midfield. Then you can see Bruno, because I see Bruno. Bruno is the reason why Bruno was frustrated yesterday, like last season, was because he was having to do other duties other than what he was good at, which was being crafty as hell, because that guy is annoying to play against. I mean, you never know what he's going to do next, but that's the beauty of Bruno. But Bruno obviously had to drop back, defend. You see them arguing, and it's like, and I watched the game and I just laughed, because it's like, these guys clearly don't know what's going on, or they're all confused. Maybe the tactics don't make sense. So, two players, Kante and Sangare, fix your midfield issues. You have great attacking players. You have a ton of attack. Even Martial, that he shined in preseason. Maybe he might come back. I doubt it, though. I think they need to sell that guy, because
he's always injured. He's always injured. No,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but yeah, the focus should be those two midfielders. Like you said, those two midfielders come in. They fix really 30 to 40% of the issues of the team. I mean, you have other issues, defense and all that, but I will say a different Man U going forward. I mean, and it looks like Ten Hag wants to play actual football, not just pass and go or cross and go or whatever, or get a penalty and let's score 12 goals. Different style of play. I mean, do I think it's gonna happen? Probably not, man. I'm okay with that.
I like Raji said, just to wrap up this section, we'll just do like a quick glossary over the remaining games. I think it's going to take time.
Yeah, it's going to take time.
Like, this is growing pains, right? But what I tell people and why I was so frustrated is, even despite the growing pains, right? Even with the midfielders, it's still be growing pains, but it's growing pains to better foundation, because the reality is, I feel between Arsenal or Chelsea, an opportunity is going to present itself. I don't know which team.
Oh yeah.
And especially the World Cup coming, an opportunity is going to present yourself. And the best thing you can do, just like what Spurs did last season, get a world-class manager. And not just that, because again, I always tell you, managers cannot turn water into wine. When January came, they got
Kulusevski,
got Bentancur, and their season turned around.
Yep.
Like, it's so important for like teams to position themselves that way. And that was United should be planning to do. The World Cup could spring anything. Kane could get injured. Arsenal could lose Jesus or Partey. Like, Partey is playing the World Cup. Arsenal and Spurs and Chelsea have a lot of players in the World Cup. Anything could happen between that time. What we should be doing is position ourselves from now and just be getting ready, just in case, because Champions League football is so critical. And I'm not even going to fire him if we don't, but position yourselves to put yourself in the best position. Because what's going to happen is, if we do not buy these players, the season is going to get away from Ten Hag before we get to December. Before we get to the World Cup break, the season will be gone. We'll be like multiple points away from top one. It's going to be done. It's going to be done. And that's why I keep trying to tell people, like, growing pains are going to happen. But there's levels to growing pains. We cannot be, it's true that we can't be Manchester United paying all these wages, and by December, just like last season, we already know we're not making top four. That's absolute madness. Without wages we are paying, it's unacceptable. It really is. And so that's my concern. It's like, I'm not saying top four is a guarantee, but as Manchester United, we should position ourselves to make sure the building process of Ten Hag is slower and better. If not, if it goes away from him after the World Cup, it's just going to be toxic again. Our fan base is very quick for it to get toxic with all the franchise. It's very quick. It gets toxic. All the guys who come out, the Roy Keanes, start saying, "Oh, maybe they should have gotten Poch." I've seen this done so many times. Maybe they should have gotten this. Maybe they should have done this. It's like, let's give this man and give him the best platform for him to succeed the long-term build, because it's going to take a long time before we can challenge for anything serious. 3 to 5 years if we get everything right. if we get everything right. So that's kind of where I'm going to end on United. I think Raji, you want to say something?
I'm just gonna say that you said that Manchester United should position themselves in case anything drops. I really think that Manchester fans should position themselves to be a mid-table team. So that's the reality.
I think we just want to take shots, but it's okay. So what we're going to do for this one, we just talk about anything that stood out quickly. We're not going to review the game. No, there's no time. We'll just go
Sure.
through.
I will say the Fulham, the Mitrovic is beginning to. It's interesting to see that he's actually taking his chances in the Premiership. He was playing more intelligently. He was doing better with the ball, and he was creating chances. Spurs looks like a team that is extremely interesting to watch. I think you mentioned that Spurs was boring when you were talking about Conte, but I think that they're going to be one to watch. I don't think they're going to be challenging for the top, but they will be in and around the top four. And I think that the Manchester City game today shows the value of Haaland. Those goals he scored, especially the second one, where he just bust out, acceleration was off the chain. It was almost like he was playing FIFA. Was just showed that is going to be one to watch this season. So those are my quick reviews.
I like that. Mine thoughts quickly. Liverpool, Nunez, who score goals technically. So my thoughts quickly. Nunez score goals technically. He's not Mane. That will bite them. That will come back to bite them later in the season.
Yep.
Mane was a game breaker for Liverpool. Anytime the games were tight, like 0-0 game, Mane was always the game breaker.
Yep.
I think it's to bite them in the ass in the title race. Spurs will always be Spurs. Conte, like I always tell people, when you watch Conte's team, like you think like, why does this thing work? But it will work.
Yeah, it
That's
doesn't make sense.
You look at it like, why does this thing work? But it's going to work. So that's why I never bet against that man. So I think Spurs want to watch out for third place finish. Chelsea, I predict, are going to have big problems in the future. I really, really see that because Kante is not reliable. He's going to get injured. Once Kante gets injured, they'll have big problems. I think City are going to walk the league. Maybe not walk the league, but I think they're going to trip it. They're going to win comfortably. I mean, Haaland is going to destroy the league. I was telling people before, my second team is Dortmund. I saw that boy for years. I was like, you guys don't know who this person they're bringing here. His finishing is like a golf player. Yeah. He aims at weird angles, and I was telling people like this guy that's come to Man City is over. The only thing that saves the league is if he gets injured. If he doesn't get injured, that boy header, runs, positioning in the box, he's finishing. Nah, that's somebody that we should have not allowed Man City to sign that guy. That guy is finito.
There's nothing you could have done.
I know. I just say that sarcastically. So yeah, those are my thoughts for quick review. Any thoughts about these teams?
So unfortunately, I didn't really watch. The only game I actually watched, like a few minutes of, was the City game, and that was because of the fact that I wanted to see Haaland play. But yeah, Haaland is. I mean, it's a given. He's gonna. I mean, if he doesn't see 25 plus, I will actually blame it on Pep for whatever reason. But yeah, I did see the highlights of the Liverpool game, and like you said, Mane was a big mistake, and I understand why. The financial issues, whatnot, transfer, wages, this and that, but yeah, you don't lose a player like that and expect not to get hurt. I mean, in terms of the way you play, like you said, Mane was a game changer, and you can see where did he go? Bayern. He's clicked his heels and he's moving, and he's shown us why he was Mane. Fulham, I will say something about Fulham though. We've seen this many times. Fulham, I mean, previous seasons that they came back, they weren't this energetic, and this is different. But Fulham will always be Fulham. Mitrovic will score 1 or 2 goals. That he's back, but trust me, the guy's going to end up with 5, 6, 7, 8 goals. Yeah, he's not doing anything.
I disagree. I think that the last few times Fulham have come back, they've been very lethargic and they've been dominated. This is against Liverpool.
It's okay.
I don't think this is going to be I mean, honestly, I honestly thought they were going to go down. But if you ask me right now, I think Nottingham Forest has a better chance of going down than Fulham. At least they didn't spend $100 million augmenting the team. This is a team that is largely the same as the one that came up. So they're not dealing with chemistry issues anymore.
Yeah, but so the issue, I don't even think I doubt if they're going to go down, but I guarantee they're not going to. They will barely survive the Premier League this season.
They're a championship team. I
Yeah,
think that
so
just staying up in this league for one season is
good.
enough of a victory.
Yeah, but
Okay.
Mitrovic is Mitrovic. We've known Mitrovic for a while.
Since we're talking about it, let's do predictions then. Give me, this is not the official one because we're going to do the official one transfer window closes. So that's why I'm not gone there yet or created the thread on the
I'm
Facebook.
going to say something great.
To give me your top 6 predictions, I'll start with Oye and tell me the 3 teams going down relegation.
So top 6 would be City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, and Man U.
Okay, relegation.
Then going down would be Nottingham and Leeds, man. And then who's the other team that got promoted? The other team that got promoted.
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth to go down. Yeah, but I see Leeds, man. I don't know. I have a really bad feeling about Leeds this season, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Raji?
I think I'll go with, for his top 6, I'll go with a lot of the predictions he had. Remove Man U, replace that with West Ham.
Really top 6. Wow. Okay.
For teams going down, I think Southampton. I think Nottingham Forest, and I definitely think Bournemouth is going down.
Yeah, Bournemouth will go down.
Nice prediction. Mine is City, Liverpool, Spurs. I think
Chelsea.
I think 4th is still Chelsea for now, depending on because I know they're going to sign, but it could change by end of transfer window. I think 5th is Arsenal, based on where we are now. I think United 6th. Relegation, I think 20th will be Bournemouth. I think 19th will be Fulham. And I think 18th will be Southampton. Southampton is nothing in that team, man, apart from Joe Strauss. And my boy Joe Aribo, the Nigerian boy, but I don't.
Sorry, I know we're about to end. I was going to say something. Jay Ward probably needs to leave that team. He's wasting away in Southampton, man. He needs to leave. But the issue is his price. Unless somebody wants to take a gamble, he needs to leave that team. He's just wasting away in Southampton. He's too good for it.
Let's wrap up with Kudos and Donkey of the week. I'll give mine quickly. My kudos goes to, I have kudos to people. Fabian Shah, that goal, he feels like he scores those goals like one every season where he belts the ball from outside the box. That one for sure. And the man, the myth, the legend, Leo Messi. I don't know if you saw that overhead kick in Ligue 1 yesterday. Oh, my man.
Oh.
I think all of that were talking crazy on Messi's name. He's coming back for everybody. So that's my kudos. He's my goat. My donkey, the Napoli president, for that nonsense he said about African players.
Yeah.
My donkey of the week. That was absolute nonsense that he said. Yeah. United, I think they are bored to get another donkey. When like Skamaka was in the market, other strikers, and we are bidding for Anatovic. I'm like, what the hell is that? You guys be serious. This is 2022. So yeah, you get my donkey of the week.
I'll go with I would say Haaland is my kudos. The 2 goals, especially after being ineffective in the Liverpool game, the 2 goals he scored today shows that he's not the kind of striker that lays on his that lets the stuff get to him, is what I'll say. And he did a great job getting up and trying to win this game. If they didn't have him in the team, God knows how they would have won. And my donkey will probably be the Napoli president as well. I think saying something like that, putting out a transfer for people who will sign stuff not to be on the African Cup of Nations is one of it's very ridiculous, honestly, because they don't give it the respect it deserves.
Oh yeah, you have one to wrap up and the show.
Basically, Haaland and for kudos, and Donkey would be the Napoli president also. I mean, his best players are African, so
yeah.
I mean, he should try getting rid of them first and see where they end up. So,
yeah, anyway. I agree. The Lontis. Well, everyone in the comments, Ray, Sam, and all the others support him. I think Chuki, thanks for joining us. For everyone watching this, like, share, subscribe. Fully Fantasy, and we are out. Peace.